Okay, now recording. Okay, so kind of circling back around to the theme for today is thinking about what we're thinking about and rewiring the conversation within. Like, what is becoming more aware? So, our subconscious really literally means beneath, sub is beneath, and consciousness is awareness. So, below our awareness is 95% of how we what we believe, how we react to everything that's happening, our thoughts about things, our judgments of ourselves and others. It's all below our awareness because it was imprinted when we were little. So before we're 7 years old, we are in theta state. We're in like literally, we are like little energetic sponges absorbing all of what we're observing around that is modeled, that is spoken, that is felt, and it's imprinted. And we don't question it because we're just so young. We don't know to be like, is that true? Is that true that when that happened, it made me feel this way and therefore I must be less than, or I'm not safe, or all the things. So we're going to talk about this, and I'm super excited because there are some life hacks in this. And when I talk about transformation, I mean freedom, really liberation from our subconscious patterned way of thinking and believing. So we're going to talk about this today. But before we do that, I want to invite you to, if you're in a place where it's safe to just close your eyes, we're going to take a couple of deep breaths and just become more present. If you're doing something else, maybe take a couple of breaths. Even if you're driving, you don't need to close your eyes. And I just invite you into a little more spaciousness just around you, where you are. Maybe the spaciousness is inside of you, like a little more room to breathe, to feel, to relax, to just really soften. So taking these deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And then I invite you, this is what I do, I've done with my groups and my clients for years now, is just to, in the chat, if you want, you don't have to, you can't, this invitation to be aware of what is moving through you right now. So if I were to say that right now, I would say there is freedom and there is joy. Right now, that's what's moving through me. And you know what's really beautiful about this practice is you get to just observe it and speak it out before you analyze it or think, is it true? Just let it move through you. It can be both and. There's sometimes when I'm like, there's fear and there's love. And it's both and. It gets to both be here. It's all holy. It's a sacred mess. We are just a walking sacred mess. So we're human and divine. It's all allowed. And when we start to embrace this concept of both and instead of either or, like things need to be this way. If this is right, then that is wrong. What if it's all just is? And it's okay, it's acceptable, and I can embrace it all. I don't know where I read this or where this concept came to be known and felt, is that someone who can hold two opposing truths at the same time, that shows the depth of their emotional intelligence, their EQ. There's IQ and there's EQ. And our EQ is our emotional intelligence, our ability to regulate emotions and not become them. So when I say there is freedom and love, I think that's what I said, or joy, they come and they go. If I were to say I'm scared and I'm anxious, there is fear and anxiety. Those are things that come and go. I'm not attached to them. So my emotional intelligence has informed me that I am not my emotions. I'm not the voice in my head. I'm not my thoughts. So I'm giving space to being the observer, because who's observing these things happening? It's my soul. And it's here having this human experience. And so I'm observing that there is this right now. I am not that. I am not anxiety. I am whole. And as I come to understand that in deeper ways, that's when freedom, that's true liberation. Okay, so that's why we're here. This is the work that I do. and I love to sit with people. I love to share the things that have healed me. It's really that simple. The things that have healed me on a soul level are the things that I share with everyone and anyone that will listen, because I understand the depth that they keep healing me. They just didn't like, I don't think we ever just heal on one level. We're so complex and layered beings, are these souls that we are, and the personality that we have in this life of being the role of Noelle. I'm the Buffalo Queen. This is my logo, right? Am I the Buffalo Queen? No, it's what's beautiful about that is we all have our own path, our own personality and our identity, or we're individuated beings. We're all having a human experience. And so we're walking each other home as we sit in this space. I love when people are able to share what their experience has been, because it's going to be different than anyone else's. So I share with you what my lived experience has been, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be yours, or that you even need to do all the things that I've done that have started to help me feel more liberated and free. You get to feel what is true for you, what resonates in your soul when you hear it. Ah, yeah, I want to try that. That's resonating. That's resonant. It's aligned. And if it's not, then you're like, not that, not that. And let that be your guide. It really is that simple. Whatever resonates and you feel drawn to that lights you up like, ooh, I want to try that. That's your truth. Follow it. And if you do it and it's not, then you back out of that and you go in a different direction. It's not a problem. So okay, if you can chat in the chat and just say there is what I'm curious what might be moving through some of you. So, okay, let's begin. I want to just, we already kind of, I mentioned this idea of that the voice in our head. How aware are we of our inner dialogue that's always going? So, our self-talk, that inner dialogue, isn't passive. This is what I want to explain in my studies of metaphysics, which is things that are unseen, and quantum physics, which are still things that aren't seen, but it's energy. It's a study of energy. So we used to have Newtonian physics that has kind of I don't want to say been taken over, but there's more wisdom in the knowledge that's coming through about quantum physics and how everything is energy. So when I say our inner dialogue isn't passive, what I mean by that is that every word, every thought that you're saying and thinking to yourself is actually wiring your brain. It's shaping the energy, because they each have, every word has its own vibrational, like, and they fit together, and it's an inner energetic signature. So whatever inner dialogue is going on, it's actually a frequency. So think about the difference. Like if you can right now, I want you to close your eyes. Oh, and I have to finish this. So it's not only creating the signal of your own frequency, because it's in here and your energy, but that signal that's your own electronic signature, I would say. Like we each have our own, it's like a fingerprint. It's our energetic signature. And it's like a fingerprint, and it's unique to us, and it sends out that fingerprint, that signal, out into the universe, out into all that is. And it all that is energy, and it will feel that energy, and it will start to pull towards that energy what matches it. And so now, if you can understand that, what matches it is brought back to you through what's happening actually in reality. So the people that you meet randomly, the circumstances and experiences that life is showing you about your fingerprint, your electronic signature that's unique to you. So if we aren't aware that what we're thinking vibrates through our words and our thoughts and our feelings about those words and thoughts, then we realize that we're shaping our energy, and our energy is creating our reality. So when we say, life is so hard, is it really? Why does this keep happening to me? I wonder why. I wonder why. And there's no blame in it, because no one really knew this, that this is, well, the very few who knew it and were living that. And it's funny because quantum physics explains now what the mystics, like the ancient mystics from thousands of years ago, what they were living is now explained by quantum physics. Somehow they knew that everything was energetic. And so, like being still, being more silent, and meditating, all of those became the portals and the pathways into being here now instead of living in our thoughts. So, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes if you can, and I'm going to say a few words. Actually, I'm going to speak to myself. I'm going to speak to myself as if my inner dialogue sounded something like this. Let's see. You're not good at that. You will never succeed. Look how much better they are. You can't do that. Oh, you're slow. Oh, remember you couldn't pick up on that thing, or you have ADD. So therefore you can't focus. Um, just hide because no one wants to hear what you have to say. It's better to play small. It's safer. It's more comfortable to hide. Okay. I don't know if you were willing to sit with that and feel what that felt like if you were speaking those words to you. My experience was, as I was speaking these words out loud, I actually was thinking, I remember when there was a time that I did think things like this, like unto this. Maybe not those exact words or sentiments, but for sure along those lines. I don't know what your mental talk is, but how did that feel in you? For me, it was like, oh my goodness, that's gross. It felt heavy. It felt a little fractured. Like there's a part of me that had to distance herself because she didn't want to hear that or feel the vibration of those words. If I'm really honest, that's what it felt like. And it's more than that, but we're gonna keep going with this experiment, and I'm gonna start saying some other words that would elicit maybe a different a response in your body. So let's see. Go ahead and close your eyes and see what this feels like now. I'm so proud of you for trying. Look at you go. Look at you speaking your truth and living your truth. You actually can do this, and you're discovering that the more that you believe yourself, like literally believe your words that you're saying to yourself, you're believing in yourself. You have more self-respect because now the energy that you're bringing here to yourself is one of courage and compassion and love. And of course you can do this, because how do you ever learn to do anything unless you make some mistakes? Does that make you bad or unworthy or someone who should hide? No, keep going. Keep going. You've got this. So when you think about, like, how did that feel? I'm curious if anyone was feeling that. The difference really, between fear and love, compassion and judgment. They really carry a different vibration and frequency. And think about, that's just what I was saying right here. So when I was speaking the love and the compassion towards myself, I felt like my heart was opening. I didn't feel contracted, or a part of me needed to go actually hide, but actually I felt open, lifted, supported, held, loved, seen, cherished. By whom? Who was saying these things? By myself. This wasn't from anyone outside of me. And this is the foundation of the work that I do as well. I have come to understand, not just in myself, but as I've sat in other circles, really, that the foundation of all freedom and healing, like liberation, emotional liberation, is based in self-compassion. It's literally becoming aware of our thoughts This is the transformation. Literally, it starts here. This is the seed. When we begin to be aware of what we're thinking about and the words we're saying and telling ourselves, outside of ourselves and inside, and what that makes us feel like, when we start to transform that, we stop being disconnected from ourselves and others. How could we be connected to others if we're disconnected from ourselves? And we start to grow, we're flexing the muscle of trusting ourselves to be safe, that we don't need to hide anymore from ourselves or anyone else because we accept and embrace every part of us. We bring all those disconnected versions of us, the fractured versions of us that we judged, we bring them into the circle, the lonely one, the scared one, the angry one, the confused one, the one that feels othered. And we bring them into a circle and we speak to them, we hold them, and we're like, oh my goodness, all you ever wanted was to be seen and heard and cherished, maybe. And we waited for someone else to give that to us. But even if they did, it didn't feel like it should. It still didn't land. Why is that? I have clients who will come to me and they have lovely partners, lovely friends, lovely people in their lives that do cherish and love them. And it works for a while. And then life does what it does, and it keeps mirroring back to us what is going on in here. If there's a war going on in here, or a war of loneliness or sadness or anger or fear going on in here, I promise you it's manifesting in your reality. And it doesn't matter what great people you have that are supportive for you. What matters is that you speak to yourself with that you adore and you cherish and you respect and regard yourself. And when you literally start doing it, you start saying it and thinking it and feeling it, that's when the shift happens. Because this is the thing that's crazy. I don't know if you know this. So our thoughts aren't just vibrational. That's not just mental. They actually have a chemical reaction in our body, and it alters our biology. So this is why it's so important. So it's quantum physics, and it's science, and it's spirituality, and it's soul level work to come here and start to understand these concepts on deeper levels, that when we have these things. So we just did the experiment. Remember I said it kind of made me feel disconnected when I was saying all those things. Well, guess what was actually happening in my body? My nervous system now is online, and it's got its attention. It's like ready to be in the limbic system of fight and flight, because what it's hearing is hide. You're not good enough. It's a primal wound. It's a primal fear. And so our body starts to get involved. It gets online. It can't, our mind, our body lives in our mind. I don't know if you're aware of this. This is kind of like things that I've learned in my schooling when I had to be like, wait, stop. Let me think about that. Our body literally lives within the construct of what our mind believes. And so our body responds according. So if we're not thinking about what is that thought, is that really true? Then our body's always just responding in a limbic way, which is a fight, flight, freeze, because it's confused and it doesn't know what to believe. Because this is the other thing. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you're imagining. That's what's so freaky. That's why our inner dialogue is so powerful. When we're saying it, our body is our subconscious, and our body literally is Switzerland. It's neutral. It's not saying, oh, honey, don't talk to yourself like that. What it's actually doing is responding to what the vibration is creating, the ripple effect. It's like throwing a rock into a pool and it ripples out, and that ripples out, and your body has a response to the ripple, the vibration. And it'll either say, oh, I love when she talks like this, because it's so like if she's talking like I was the second time, that you've got this, I support you, I see you, you're awesome, I'm your biggest cheerleader. Like, what a gift to create an alliance with the only person who can never leave us. That's us. Why wouldn't we be our biggest cheerleader? And there's so many reasons why we don't do it. We never saw it modeled. We came to believe that that would be like our ego would say, oh, well, you're so like you think you're so good. No, that right there is the thing we need to break apart, that we're either selfish or egoic for tending to ourselves and not putting ourselves at the back of the line anymore. That is golden. If you can just come away from this today with that nugget, that it is not selfish or like egoic, stuck up, or what, I don't know what you want to call it. I'm trying to think of the word, to tend to yourself, or narcissistic. That would be the word that we would use today. To tend to yourself with love and compassion, take the courage to do that. That is the most brave thing, because it's kind of rebellious, because we didn't see people doing it. So it's something that we're doing that's a new way to be. It's a new way to show up for ourselves. And it's kind of radical in its nature. So this this way to understand that our thoughts create a chemical reaction in our body. First they vibrate, then there's the chemical reaction. And because our brain doesn't know the difference, and this is so true. This is in trauma work. And when I got my clinical degree and started training in EMDR, which is it was emotionally focused. Oh my gosh, what is EMDR again? Emotional um desensitization and reprocessing. I think it's emotional method or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but in that training, we were trained never to take the people right back to the experience of the trauma, only to the feeling, because when you have them start speaking about it, our brain doesn't know the difference between what happened way back when we were little, or even just last week, the trauma of it, and us thinking about it again. So when we are thinking and talking about an experience that felt traumatic, or if we're speaking to ourselves in the ways that we came to believe about ourselves because that trauma happened, like, oh, you're no good at that, you can't do that. Can you see how this creates like an addictive cocktail that our body is so comfortable living in that it feels maybe impossible to change? So we don't. We keep ignoring that we're talking to ourselves like that, and then being like, why am I sick? Why do I have these problems with my body, these somatic problems? Why do I have heart issues or lung issues or like arthritis, or all the things that can happen to us, to our bodies, because our brain and our thoughts and our words and our feelings about ourselves have been consistently, we've been unaware that we're actually saying these things to ourselves, that is creating the whole ripple effect of the vibration, then the chemical reaction, and then our body's response to it. So that's why our inner dialogue is so powerful, and it can be so transformative. For those of you that are coming in late, there was something that we did at the beginning of this. I'm going to say this as more people come in. I'm going to tell you to please go back towards the beginning and do the little experiment that we did, where I had you close your eyes and I was doing something, and I wanted you to feel in your body the difference between certain words and what you felt, and other words and how they made you feel. That's what we're talking about today, is the like rewiring the conversation that we're having in our inner dialogue. So this is some of you may be more linear, left brain, and I want to speak to this a little bit quick. That we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 60 to 70,000. Isn't that crazy when you think about it? Just we're like bam, 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 wiring all over the place. But 90% of those thoughts are exactly the same as the day before. So what this means is that if we are not thinking about what we're thinking about, we literally are living on autopilot unless we slow down. And so these are the tools that I give in my courses, in my one-on-ones. I go back to the basics of, okay, this is all really good information to know. And it's important, right? To know, like, oh my gosh, like, what is my inner dialogue? To bring subconscious things more aware into our consciousness, our awareness. But really, what are, and I can teach people all day long the tools and give them the resources, but unless they understand the value of what these little tools, these resources actually can bring to their life, if they actually will take the tool, put it in their little tool belt, their superhero, heroine tool belt, literally put it in there and then use it. Use it when the time comes. Don't just walk around with the belt and be like, yeah, I got all these, I'm resourced. I'm resourced, but I don't know how to use them. I'm not really using them. So we talk about this, but what I do in my courses is really, really share in my one-on-ones how to use, like, the skillful means with which to use the tools. Because unless you're using them, they're just a really cool tool belt. And it doesn't really do you any good in your life. And you're just on autopilot. So this chemical addiction that our body gets used to, cortisol, adrenaline, and the stress that those very thoughts and words, we are a walking conversation. We're talking to ourselves all the time. And the aftermath of it, we aren't even aware of. Or we're not even, because we're not aware of what we're saying to ourselves. But because all of those chemicals get stirred up, and this is what I'm going to speak to really quickly too. And then I want to get into the coaching part. So I'm going to finish this, wrap this up. All of that chemical addiction to the stress hormones and everything, if we think that we want to change that, so really what that becomes, all of that stress and adrenaline and cortisol is like a comfortable blanket that keeps us nice and warm and snuggly because it's familiar. It doesn't matter that it feels that it's dysfunctional, and it's our nervous system screaming at us saying, you have, please, please, please change this. I can't live in fight or flight anymore. I can't have the vibration and these chemicals running through my nervous system and making me feel like I'm just suffering. And so when that's why it feels so familiar, doing anything different starts to feel really like changing. That feels like, I can't do that. I can't do that. It's too uncomfortable. So the skillful means are the tools. And when you learn what they are and be able to actually use them for yourself, then you become liberated. You're liberated from the pattern of these thoughts and these feelings and the beliefs that have been just coming into there. They live in you. They live in us because they were imprinted when we were so young, before we knew better. So really, the thoughts that I'm not good enough, I should be doing this, when we're shooting on ourselves, all the things that we tell ourselves, they aren't the truth. They're just a habit. They're just a pattern. So when you can slow down and be like, oh my gosh, is that even true? Is it really true? It sure seems like it. You know why it seems like it is because your reality is reflecting what you have come to believe. That's your signal. You're sending it out. As soon as you say, wait a minute, is it true? Or am I just repeated that so much? And I learned it when I was so young, I never questioned it. So let me look at my reality. Oh, there is a lot of suffering. And I noticed that I feel this about them, and I think they feel this about me. That must be true, right? But what if I have the courage and the compassion to question it all? And I start to change the energy that I'm feeding me, my system, this one instrument. And I start feeding it with the energy of love and not fear. What happens in my reality? Everything changes. Everything shifts because it's energy, you guys. It's what we're speaking to ourselves without even being aware of what the cost is. When we start changing our thoughts, we literally start changing our neural pathways, our programming. Think of your brain like a field, And every thought is like a step. Think of when you go on a hike and you're looking out and you're like, where's the path? Oh, there it is. It's the one that's the most worn. It's so clear. Everybody's been walking on it. That's what our brain is like. Every thought is a step. And every time we're going out walking in our brain, we're walking on the same path and it becomes very worn. So do you see how that's so comfortable? Here's my path. I don't even have to think about it. I know this road very well. But when you walk a new path, it becomes your freedom trail because you start to like be brave enough and radical enough and rebellious enough to say, I'm going to start a new trail. I am the trailblazer. I am the buffalo. And I'm going to walk into this new territory because I know there's probably freedom there because I have lived this and there's been some suffering, maybe a lot of suffering, if I'm really honest. So I get to choose. So once we start to notice our our thoughts, we change them, then we change our chemistry. And when we change our chemistry, we change our energy. And when we change our energy, we change our reality. And that changes our whole life. So the true transformation that we all desire actually can only happen. And this is what I learned too on my path. And I maybe if anyone wants to put in the chat what their experience is with this, and then I'm going to open this up. But I used to believe that there was just like, if this was right, then this was wrong. It was really black and white thinking. Well, I'm right and they're wrong, or this is good and this is bad, or this is light and this is dark. I mean, everything was so polarized. Then I started to test at like, what would it be like to be a little more open? Because this was like suffocating me, actually. I was suffocating myself by all the rules and all the shoulds and all the things that I wasn't doing perfectly right or whatever. So I thought, well, what would happen if I just like opened the door a crack? Let me just see. And I opened the door and I discovered as I opened the door a crack, there was love. There was actually love and freedom and joy on the other side of that door because I cracked it open. And so that's what I'm asking you to open your mind, open your heart, open your hands to receive a new way to think and speak and to be in relationship with yourself. Being open, I promise you, is the only way that life can move through you and shape you and change you and transform you. If you're rigid and closed and you think, well, I have all the answers, I'm comfortable right here. How has that been working for any of us? So, and I want to say this, in the next 3 days, it really doesn't take so long. If you can every time catch your thoughts, like set a timer on your phone for like once an hour. Let a chime go off, like a really nice chime, not something obnoxious, like a bell. And have it be a reminder. You don't even need to like stop and like meditate. What I'm saying is just bring your attention to your thoughts. What am I thinking? Ah, okay. Just bring awareness to what has been unaware and see how that in 3 days, if you start, like I said, the chain of events is change your thoughts, change your body chemistry, change your energy that's going out, change your energy and change the reality of what's happening because you changed your perception about reality through energetic means. And the one last thing I want to say here before I open this up is that if you were to believe that your inner realm, like I was talking about, like if you don't like what's going on out here in your reality, you get to, it's an invitation to ask, what's going on in here, in my inner realm? Okay, so what I'd like to talk about this inner realm is like a garden. So think in your mind, if you want to close your eyes, you can. If you could think of your ideal garden that you would love to go visit today. Let's pretend, I don't know where you live, but let's pretend it's a sunny day. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. For me, that's right at around 72 degrees, 73. I can maybe have like a light little sweater on. And I'm out walking in a garden. But my garden is going to look different than the garden that you would dream of going and walking in. Let's say my garden is a Zen garden and there's bamboo and it's green, but it's against like the more kind of cream colored rocks, and they have, like, they're raked just perfectly, and there's rocks and a couple of bonsai trees and a little stool. Like, it's just, that's the Zen garden. There's so much peace there. I get to go sit in that garden and listen to water. There's a little waterfall, a little water thing over here. But someone else may have like an English garden and it's manicured and it's ordered in a different way. Or someone wants to go and it's like a wild garden. It's free and it has colors and nothing is organized. It's just beautiful because it's wild. I want you to think about your own inner garden, your own inner sanctuary. If you could create and it may be all of the above. It gets to be whatever you want it to be. So allow your imagination to just like flow with this. And I invite you to do it here, but I invite you to do it after you leave here. Take some moments to sit down, be like, I'm curious, what would my inner garden, my paradise, what would that look like? My sanctuary, the place I would want to return to over and over. Because now the energy that I bring to that space feels like home because I trust it. Now I'm paying attention to my thoughts. What am I saying to myself? What am I saying about myself to others? What is the vibration that I carry? What is my energetic signature signature and signal that I'm sending out that's bringing back and showing me a mirror, literally, how does that feel? How does that energy feel that's coming back at you? It started here. I'm just mirroring it back. And when we get radically self-responsible, this rebellious act of self-love and the courage and the compassion to be like, oh, what must I have come to believe about Noelle or myself? Talking to yourself, Kelly, Madeline, Rhonda, Sonia. What have I come to believe about myself before I knew better than to question, is this true? That I'm not safe, or the world's not safe, or I'm not capable, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not wanted, or I don't matter. All of the versions of that, there's so many, and we all carry them because we're human. And so when we start to question our thoughts and challenge them and come back to this space and tend to our garden, that's what I'm saying. When we're tending to our thoughts and our bodies and all these things, we're literally tending to our inner sanctuary. So think about the garden that you want to claim, that you want to live in, that this is your home. You get to come live in this space. When everything feels like it's going to crap out here, you're like, I'm just going to come home for a minute. I'm going to settle in right here because I know the energy that I've built this with, and it's love. And that's who I be. I get to go live in that space and I get to continue to tend to it. Gardens don't stay gardens if they aren't tended. They wither, they shrivel, they dry up. Think about your own body when it hasn't been tended in all the ways, sexually, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Our diet is not just what we're putting in our mouths, what we're feeding our bodies, this instrument. It's what we're reading. It's what we're watching. It's what we're listening to. It's how we're speaking to ourselves. That's what's growing our inner sanctuary, for good or one way or the other. It's being built. So you get to choose. Once you choose to change your thoughts, then you're changing your life and you're changing your sanctuary. Okay. I'm here now. If you have any questions, I will take anyone's, if anyone wants to raise their hand and ask a question, or if you want to ask it in the chat, please feel free. But I'm here to support anyone who has any challenges, something that feels like they've been working on for a while, or if they have questions about it, or if they're feeling like, oh, there's a pattern that I'm noticing with my daughter, or this keeps happening in my life and I've been curious about it. What do you think? Like, let's shed some light on some stuff. Okay, Madeline.
Hi, Noelle. So lovely to see you. So, kind of funny about this was that I just checked my email and then your link had popped up and I was like, "What time is it?" So I hop on. So I had no intention for this, but this is something that has just kind of been like popping up in my brain the last couple days, and I was like, "You know what? Let's just dive in here."
Let's go. Let's go. Thank you for being willing to. And I'm glad that was not random. I don't believe in random.
Oh,
So,
no, no. Oh my gosh, absolutely not. But it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, all right, I guess we're doing this. Let's do it. Um, so to that exact note, I'm in this like big in between phase of my life right now. Like I have applied to a bunch of different jobs and I think I told you the last time I was on here, maybe I didn't, but I just moved here to help take care of my dad's health. So it's been like a lot of tending to him, and my boyfriend works on boats, so he's on and off time. So it's like when he's here, I've been just tending to both of them. I don't have my girlhood community, so that's actually why I keep showing up in these spaces because I feel like it fulfills me in the way where it's like impossible to make friends as an adult, annoyingly, as we all know.
okay.
So I'm here for that reason, or one of the reasons. But um, what I'm trying to get at is that I teach dance also. And I've been teaching dance fitness for like the last 15 years. I had like I subleased a studio where I used to live, and that's kind of a whole other pocket. But long story short, I'm getting off of what I call Shame Island, which is me just being like, I'm not good enough to do this. What is everyone going to think of me? So I just got a new job or found a studio that I can teach at around the corner from my house, actually. And I love the woman who owns it, and it's a beautiful space. Like it really lit me up, and I'm unfortunately, shamelessly also like such a studio snob. Like I don't want to just do it in like the basement of a church. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just like want the aesthetic and the demographic that I'm looking for, whatever. But my pondering question that I've had in my brain is that I don't want like I'm a different person than how I was when I had my own stuff, and I'm trying to rebrand myself, and I don't know who I want that to look like yet. And
Hmm.
I'm trying to feel into it. And there's a couple things like I'm scared to do. So when you were talking about your garden and like who I want to be and how I want it to look like I'm the wildflower girl with like all sorts of flowers everywhere. Um, and and to me, like that's sharing all these other little gifts that I have, like not specifically yoga, but just slow movement and like intention setting and self-love kind of stuff. But I'm I'm scared to do it. And as you were kind of saying, you don't want to step out of your comfort zone. And I know more than probably than all the girls in here. It's like, you feel like you're stepping off a cliff, but really it's a curb. But I would love to hear what you have to speak to, yeah, how to feel into, like, what's that first step when you're trying to just go for something, but your body's like, no, no, no.
Yes, okay, I love this. Is such a beautiful question because I think everyone can probably relate on some level in their lives feeling like they're leaping. It's scary. It's too much change all at once. Or, can I trust that this is going to that it's a curb, right? There's a I don't know if you've ever heard the quote by Terence McKenna. It's something like nature loves courage. It loves someone who's willing, like that has the courage and the compassion to actually go into the very thing, like take the leap. He talks about it being like what all of the mystics and the teachers, the great teachers knew, they knew the secret that it's in, he calls it the shamanic dance in the waterfall. It's where magic, that's where the magic is. It's in the unknown. And so like taking the leap, and the end of his quote says, you take the leap and you find every time it's a feather bed. So it's not just a curb, it's actually a feather bed. So I can say all of this, and that's really beautiful. But I also want to tend to the part of Madeline's that's feeling all of this. This is coming up because I heard you say a few things like it's impossible. I'm not good at that.
Mhm.
And um, something like I don't believe this, or I'm scared or something. And I'm like, okay. So those are kind of running through you. And of course, you're in a new place. There's a lot of change already, right? You inserted yourself and you said, yeah, it's maybe that was when you said impossible. It's impossible as an adult to make new friends.
Mhm.
Okay. Is that really true? Like, right? Like, and of course, if you're busy taking and tending to people and you don't have time to be out. And so I love that you know already this about yourself, that to step into places like this, there is support. You are seen, you are held, and it's a community of people that quickly you're like, oh, we're like-hearted, we're like-minded because we're thinking about these things or we wouldn't be here, right?
Right.
This is something that we're on some sort of journey, some sort of path, sort of path that we're trusting that it does get better than this.
Mhm.
It does get better than this. Wherever we're at, it's always going to be a better version if we open up to it. So I'm curious about this idea of you feeling. So what would you like? You said a lot of things, and I'm like, okay, this wants to be more. I want to help you get to the root of it. So when you are in situations where there's something new or whatever, that part of you that's like, oh, I got this. I've been doing this 15 years. Like, of course
Yeah.
I've got this. That's the part that shows up even amongst the fear. So there's not like this hesitation, right? It is just like full trust, deep, deep trust. But let's go back to the version of Madeline that came to believe some of that heavier, sticky stuff. And it feels like it's just residue. Like you've done a lot of work.
Mhm.
So if you were to name, like, what exactly is it that feels like the challenge or the roadblock for you?
Yeah, like it's interesting because I have this clean slate and I don't know anyone, as where before I had hometown advantage. People had known me since I was 18. And so, I formed relationships with people. So it's in this way, it's almost like I have an advantage because I can just do whatever the hell I want. No one knows me. So like it really doesn't matter. But there's like I'm I can totally teach dance like with my eyes closed, do it in my sleep, but a part of me really wants to introduce this like softer side. And I used to teach like 30 minutes of dance before, or sorry, of like slow movement before my dance classes at like my old sublease studio. And I would get so many wonderful compliments, like you should do longer classes. But there's something about me that I was always scared. Like every time I would drive to teach the class, I'd have like anxious belly, like didn't feel like good enough to teach. And it's so like silly because I get nothing but compliments every time. Every people come back every week, like willing, but for some reason I couldn't feel like I could construct a class the way that I wanted to. It was very hard on myself. And now I really want to scratch that itch because I'm in this new place and I have so many awesome ideas, but there's still something that I feel like is holding me back. And when you ask me like what that is, like I don't know. Like I'm definitely queen, put pressure on myself, for really no reason, but all my other reasons. Go
Well,
ahead.
you named it. Well, you named it. So you just said it's that I can do the dance part. I that's good. I can do that. It was this other part that you were offering because why? Why were you offering that? I'm curious.
Well, I love like the yin and yang to it. Like the balance of it was really nice.
Super. So you're bringing in the soft thing. You just so like some soft, slow dancing, some slow movement, just like
Yeah.
coming into this space. And what that offered was something that everyone responded to. they were coming back. They were like the compliments, like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is awesome. And that yet, even with that validation that was outside of you, can you see how there's something, what it was? You've heard my story of the empty boats, like the empty boat that came and bumped the Buddhist boat, and it triggered something in him that he was like, oh, I didn't know that was there. So this was beautiful. It's beautiful that you are aware that you felt that, that you're like, oh, this is still here. It's kind of sticky. It's kind of what, I'm going to ask you next, what it feels like for you. But it's beautiful because it's an invitation. Life has given you an invitation to turn towards this thing again and actually allow it to speak. Let it be what it is, and you get to go visit. And we're going to do that together here. Um, so when you feel this way, like, oh, I can't really do that. I'm scared. Like you said, I was scared as I was driving there. So I'm going to ask you right now, when you think about going and teaching that part again, what does it actually make you feel?
I think it's and I don't know why, but first thing that comes to my conscious is I'm not good enough. I'm just not good enough to teach it.
Okay, I'm not good enough. Okay. So how does saying that and feeling I'm not good enough feel to you in your body? Like, how does
Yeah,
it
it
feel?
bums it bums me out. And I know,
Bums you
especially
out.
because I've done so much of this work too, that it's like, how am I still thinking that? Like, shouldn't this
Interesting. Okay,
stop?
so there's a part of you that's still beating up, like, why are you still
Yeah.
doing this? We've done so
Yeah.
much work around this. Okay, she wants some love too, the judger. The judger and the judge, they both need some love, right? So like this is a familiar feeling. You've just explained it. It makes you get bummed out. Like it makes me feel bummed. Like, come on, we've done this. We've circled back around. The truth is, though, I want to also remind you, we're never the same. We are never the same. Even if you did this an hour ago, if you sat and talked to me an hour later, you are a different person. Our cells and our quantum physical like particles, every less than a second, they're like going in and out, changing. We are in 9 years, a completely different, every cell in our bodies read like in 9 years. So every 9 years, we're a completely new person being. So we're never the same. So when people come, they're like, I have the same thing. And I'm like, but guess what? The same thing may be coming because it's showing you what still residue lives in here that's manifesting out here, but you have done the work. You know this. So you coming around, it's not linear. Our healing journey is like this, it's like this circular thing. And so you're coming back around to what seems like the same thing, but you're like, "Oh, I'm not down here anymore. I'm circling back around, but I'm a new me." So as this new person that kind of has this understanding that, oh my gosh, I may have a different perspective now. I get to tap into more of my like, well, wait, how does that feel now? Or just even more awareness, like, oh, I notice I'm doing that. I'm doing that thing. And so the question is, when you feel that, can you, and it feels familiar, can you remember the first time you ever felt it? That feeling. I'm
Um,
not good enough.
I
I can't
feel
do
like very like giving a presentation at school and not being prepared. And so you're just kind of like, oh my God, I'm going to fail the class and everyone's staring at me, not knowing this information. Like it would probably stem in that because I never liked public speaking. But what's so silly is like, if you put me in front of a crowd, I can talk to anybody, no problems. It's like the preparedness of because I think with yoga too, it was like I don't practice like Buddhism and the religion behind it. I don't know the Sanskrit, so I felt kind of like I was being inauthentic to where it came from. So that's why I wanted to like turn it into something that I like love movement and I love, moving like our fascia and our lymph system. Like I'm getting so much more knowledge about our actual like systems in our body. And I want to share that information like if like you're my bestie, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to try this new mascara. It's like that's how I want to be able to have that passion and that like confidence about the things that I share. And like I said, it's just so interesting to me that I know I can do it. Like it's not even that I can't, like I can and I've conquered it over probably 100 times. And now that I'm going into this new space, I'm kind of offered to be whoever I want to be. Like it's a yoga and dance studio. So, and she had asked me like, "Oh, do you want to sub a would you ever want to sub a yoga class?" And I'm like, "No, don't ask me." But then I'm like, after I said it, I was like, "Maddie, like this is
Okay.
your opportunity."
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, people would say, oh, that's self-sabotage, but it was just a pattern. That's right. It's just a pattern that so it's almost like subconsciously you're like, wait, how did that even just come out of my mouth? It's like I didn't even think it. It just, oh, it just
Yeah.
came up from
So,
somewhere in there, but it's coming from somewhere old, right?
yeah.
So that's what we want to kind of circle back around to that and say, okay, because I hear you saying first it was like, I'm not good enough. And now you're like, well, it's actually tied to competence. It seems like it's tied to whether you believe that you know it or not, even though your soul was like, but I love doing this. It's like sharing, I get to share this thing that kind of is moving through me. And isn't that enough? Because people showed up, they felt it. They were like, that is so cool. Thank you for offering this. Do you think that they're really thinking, well, I wonder what she knows? No one's ever asked me to show them my like degree. Here's my
Mhm.
thing on the wall that I don't have an office where that stuff lives,
That's
but
such a
for,
good.
there was a part of me that used to believe I needed that to be able to teach or to
Mhm.
sit with people and to hold space.
Mhm.
But what you've been, it lives in you or you wouldn't be doing it. It
I know.
lights you up. I see how you light up when you're talking about it, even just talking about it. But there's something that you came to believe when before you knew better,
Mhm.
something tied to, like if you could give it an I am statement, Madeline, like I am,
I think it's like I am scared to be me. That's
o-
kind of what came up.
okay, scared to be you. In what
Yeah,
way?
I think like like I don't know. Like I think a lot of it probably comes with like the relationship with my mom. Sometimes like I would outshine her and feel bad, or like I don't know, like there's just some parts of myself that I'm scared to share. And I just think that's so interesting because again, like the gifts that I have within me that I do share like light me up so much. So much so that I like have to do them because I can recognize how good it makes me feel. And Rising the Collective, and it's I was given these gifts by a higher source. So and I've gone, like I said, I've gone through all of this understanding of like it's like selfish of me to not be sharing my gifts. So it's like it is that thing where it's like I know, but I can't do it, to the fact where when it was given an opportunity where I was like hemming and hawing, like maybe I will step into teaching yoga or like name it something different. And
Yeah.
opportunity came up to me and I said no. And yeah, it's just not, there's just a part of me that's not doing what I want to be doing because I feel scared. And I'm trying to like get back to the root of it because I know that's what it is, but
And it's like it's curious, kind of what's coming up a little bit of intuitively. I know you've done a lot of work because I know. And so I'm curious if there might be, yeah, there's a little residue there, but I'm listening to you and I'm hearing your inner dialogue. And it's almost like it might be a little that little thing of letting go of that fear and doing the thing anyway because you keep saying, well, I'm scared. And you
Yeah.
believe now that you are a person that is scared to try to teach yoga because people are going to think you don't know what you're doing.
Mhm.
But you're like, maybe what you don't understand is that when I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm sure all these other women are feeling the energetic shift the minute you shift from I'm scared, so I can't do this to, but it lights me up and I do it and I love it. And it's like what suddenly opens up is this magnetic pull. Like it's pulling me in. It's like Madeline saying, come and come and do this thing. And I'm not, I'm just like, I want to be there. I don't even know what you're teaching, and it doesn't matter because you, my dear, are the reason that they come.
Yeah.
Really. Like, I want you to sit with that. You are the reason why
Yeah.
people show up. It's your magnetism. It's what they're feeling when they arrive in your space.
Right.
It's what you offer. And your doubt of yourself is still just a habit. It's just a habit that gets to clean up. So I invite you to like start asking yourself every morning and saying, like, what would it be like to be in love with my life how it is right now? Like, what if I believed, like, what world do I get to live in if I didn't believe that I was scared? What, I get to say yes. I get to stay. I get to be the one who stays with myself and holds herself through that fear. So she actually calls back the yoga studio and says, you know what? Actually, I've been thinking about this. The answer is yes. And let the fear ripple through you. And then right after that is going to be this like, of course I can do this because I trust me. I always figure it out. Like think of yourself when you were actually doing that. I want you to tell me a little bit more about what your experience was when you actually were doing the slow movement with those people before. Like you said, I don't know, 20 minutes before or half an hour, you would take up the time and say, before we do this, let's just move our bodies like this. What was the response of those women? I'm curious. Women and men, maybe both.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, mostly women. Like I said, I mean, everyone came back, and I think they enjoyed having, like, a lot of them were like spiritual curious. So I think that with, I would say like a little something as far as like the energetics or what's going on and pull affirmation cards or something like that. Um, so yeah, I feel like I created like a safe container for everyone and it was fun because I love like little sprinkles of things here and there.
Yeah. See, exactly that. So it's not super saturated in like, this is what we're doing. It's so focused, and I'm going to teach you this. It flowed through you, and said what you just explained was just so natural. It just flowed out of you. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what you brought to that space. And people, like, really, people come to yoga classes and they're hoping to, of course, to move their body and be like one with themselves, but it's not just a personal thing, it's collective. That's why we go to group things, or that's why we're here, right? It's collective because it's our, like, we feel these things when people come into your container of your dance space, wherever it is, right? I get it. Like, yeah, I don't want to be in a church basement. Okay, that's fine. That's your vibe. That's what you bring, and you bring the energy to wherever you are. But what those women felt when they arrived was you.
Yeah.
And you, like, just being in it and being like, I'm going to let this be what this is. And that is super cool because I like it. And the fact that they like it means they're aligned with this. So it must mean something. And it won't be for everyone. You'll have
Yeah.
some women that won't show back up because they're still looking for something that's maybe a little more shallow. I don't know. Like if people want to go deeper and start exploring, why does this feel so good? Let me think, what's changing, what's moving, what's shifting, what am I feeling here on kind of more of a spiritual path, whatever you want to call it, on whatever path. But when you allow yourself to go there, you're always inviting people to step into your energy. And it's so authentic. That's what's the beautiful thing. It's just authentic.
Mm.
It's someone sitting up there just speaking, like from a card being like, well, the spiritual da 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 of this, like, no, no, no one wants that. They could go online and learn all the bullet points of this idea, but they come to you because the way you're expressing it is your way, and it feels really cool to them.
Mm.
And that's what you'll bring to yoga. If you teach it in someone else's yoga studio, you will still bring your energy there. And it gets to be what you create. And that's what's going to be so cool. I can't tell you how many times I went to yoga, different parts of the world and it always felt the same. And then I came back here and like a few months ago, I went to this yoga class woman came to a place that I was at and I cried because, and I afterwards I went up and I said, I think that's what yoga is actually supposed to feel like. Thank you. And it was slow and it was different. And she brought in thoughtful things and it wasn't all mechanical or robotic. It was actually her. It was what she brought. She brought her energy, her authenticity. She was joking and laughing, like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not doing this right or whatever. And we all laughed because she was so real.
Yeah.
So, my dear, like you may have some fear, but speak it out. Say, I'm a little nervous right now because da da da. Don't you think that feels like the most authentic, real thing? Because then everyone's like, oh my gosh, our teacher's like us. I could do this too. Now you're giving them permission to go to the plate, take the leap, and let them know that it's a feather bed. Always. Because you tell yourself it is. It's a feather bed. You are soft. You're always going to land right here, right in your garden, your messy garden. It's all holy. There isn't a good, bad, right, or wrong way to do it. Okay, how does that feel in your body if you're like, well, there isn't a wrong way to do it? I can't make a mistake because it's just me showing up being me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely forget that it's not necessarily about the class, it's about the person. Because I've taken so many classes that like no, like again, not that they're on this call, but
Yeah.
that just haven't been what I've been looking for, but like class wise, but like I've always appreciated the instructor, especially because like I know what it's like to be one.
Yes.
So that like I definitely tend to forget that. But yeah, there's definitely, it feels so much better to just know that, yeah, exactly. I can't mess up because it's me. So there's nothing else that I'd be doing wrong because it's just me. We all
Ah,
we all fuck up. And I think one of my favorite thing that Sarah speaks so much to, and I mean definitely you as well, is oh, I just lost it, is what was it? It's something that she says about fear and failure. It's just like, yeah, failure is great. Why would failure be bad? It's actually incredible because, oh, wait, I just learned something new that I get to do next time. So there's no failure at all. And it's like, you probably can resonate. It's like, when you talk about it in these containers in these spaces and you get your aha moments and your riffs just like connect, it feels so good. And then you're like, motherfucker, like, excuse my French. Why can't I just like take a sip out of this sippy the like seconds before I'm teaching to like embody all of this, Because it feels so good to be reminded by so much of what you said because I wrote half of it down, but it is like,
well, this is the thing. You're doing it. So you think you're failing, but it's the whole reason we're here having this human experience. You
right?
have to contract before you expand. That is the law. We
Yeah.
can't avoid it because we're human, right? What we can do is like decrease the distance between the contraction and the expansion, right? The difference between someone who gets stuck in their patterns and like an enlightened person. An enlightened person still is human, but they immediately are like, I see what this is. This is my opportunity to go to the ledge and take a little leap, another little leap. But the leaps don't seem so leaping when you start to trust yourself to be safe with every leap. You will always catch yourself, Madeline. Look at the mad skills you have, the way you
Mm.
speak about it. Like this is the thing. This is the workshop really is almost. In fact, I heard this from someone who's in some different containers that she lives in Europe and she's a friend of mine that I met in one of these containers. But she talks to people that are like channeling things and talking to angels and I'm like, "Woo, that's a different world than I live in, okay?" But she said right now in April, there's like a portal in April where the energies that are coming through that seem old and heavy, like what you just spoke to, like residue from like a faint, you're like, I've healed this. What's going on? She said, and when she said it, it was powerful. I'm like, wow, pay attention to that and tell it to all your clients and everyone you sit with. Right
Lord.
now, it's the time to say enough. I have learned, I've walked the walk. I've learned these lessons, and now I take all of that attention, all of that energy that I'm giving to that old stuff, that old shiz, and I turn a new direction because I know who I be. I call in now. Things aren't coming to me and I'm like confused by them anymore. I'm like, oh, that's right. I already did that work. This is who I be. I stand in my truth and I'm calling in a new reality because I'm now aware of, oh, that doesn't serve me. Those thoughts, those are old. I'm walking a new pattern in the field of my brain. And this is what I choose. And because I'm aware, I actually can choose. When we choose, we make the change. It's when we aren't aware, we can't choose if you're not aware. And then you don't change because you're not aware that you have a choice because you think that you're a victim to life instead of saying, wait, I am a co-creator with life. It is working for me and with me. I'm not a victim unto life. Ugh, that's such a heavy victim energy. And I lived there for most of my life. So I know what that feels like, literally like a prison. So healing really is about choosing in every now moment. Oh, that's right. I already did that work. And it's not positive psychology. It's new neural pathway. It's like, it's neuroplasticity. That's what that is. Let's call it what it is. It's not just like you being brave and compassionate and courageous with yourself. Yes, the one who stays long enough to give some space and be like, wait, that's new. That's my old pattern speaking. Call it out. Call it out and claim what's yours. Because you are that powerful. We're all that powerful. Call it out for what it is. Oh, I see you, anger. I see you, fear. I see you, grief. And we have become quite acquainted over
Mhm.
the years. And it doesn't mean that they're not allowed to come. They can come, but they don't stay. And we're aware of them. Or else, or how would we have that little contraction before we're like, oh, and this is what it's like on the other side. Hallelujah. I like literally, I am that powerful. I do this. That's what I do. That's who I be. I'm an alchemizer. I'm a refiner. So that energy comes in, whether it's coming from you or someone else outside of you, if they're projecting stuff on you, their own fear, anger, and grief, whatever that looks like, their pain. And we can either reflect it back at them or back at ourselves, like, you're scared, and then we get more scared. We reflect it back to ourselves, or we absorb it in. If someone's bringing it on, we're like, yeah, I'm not good at that. Or you're saying it to yourself and you're believing it. Yeah, you're right, I'm not good at that. The third way to stand in front of anything that's coming in as pain, whether from ourselves or outside of ourselves, is to alchemize it, because that's what we are. We are love. The wholeness of our frequency is the frequency of love. So we are that. When we start believing it, then we know that whatever happens, we're like, oh, fear, fear is just the other side of love. Love is more powerful though. So it allows fear to be there. Like, go ahead, fear, you can come. You don't get to stay because I'm going to take you with the power of love and wrap my arms around you because you're allowed to be here too, because I'm human. And we alchemize it. We take the energetic power of fear or anger, of grief, pain, and we wrap it with love. And we're like, how does that feel? Because you get to be the one who does it for you. The part of you that's scared or crying or sad or mad, all of it's allowed. You get to bring it. I think you weren't here yet when I was talking about this circle of the versions of us, the scared one, the confused one, the lonely one, the angry one. Like they're all in this little circle. You can do them individually and talk to them or bring them into the circle and be like, guess what? You're allowed to be here. Actually, I'm so glad you're here. I've kind of pushed you away. I'm so sorry. I didn't know better. That's what I saw everyone else doing. So of course I did that. But you are welcome here. You are part of me. Come back to our wholeness. Come back to the frequency of love. You're loved just as you are, even if you're angry and scared and confused. You're still loved. You're loved more, actually, because you taught me so many beautiful lessons about who I actually be. Like through the experience of fear and grief and pain, how do we ever learn compassion and love and empathy and joy and confidence and self regard? How do we ever learn that? Is it just when everything's really happy and great? Maybe in another existence at another time. And I think that time is coming as we are evolving and our emotional EQ is like going up. We're suddenly like we're beings that are refining and we do realize the power that we hold to create our realities out of love instead of fear. When we all get emotionally intelligent enough and aware, self-aware enough to be like, oh my gosh, what did I believe about myself that I was living in that narrative, living in that reality? When we change that, then we aren't, suffering doesn't become the way that we expand. We start expanding through our dharma, not our karma anymore. And that's a totally different way to be. It's exactly what you said. Your dharma, as I see it, as you're speaking right now about what lights you up, is to go and offer what's moving through you in any given moment. You know what? Let's move our bodies. How would that feel, ladies? We're just going to sit here. We're going to sit on Mother Earth here in this beautiful studio that I love, not the basement, whatever. And we're going to sit here and we're close our eyes and we're just going to like what you are gifting them with are the skillful means to come home to the garden that they are building and tend to it finally. We can't do that when we're busy and distracted and doing anything but being still. So trust that what is informing you gets to be shared with others now. That's the gift within the shadow of your fear. And yeah, it might be a little scary, but can you see how just like sitting with your fear and like having a little conversation with it and being like, you know what? We've done this before. I've got you. We're going to do this. We're going to try this. And if it feels scary, we'll laugh and we'll even maybe say something about it. See if anyone else says, oh, yeah, I see. I've done this before. I've tried to teach before. Oh, yeah. Or if they're thinking it, for sure they're thinking it. I didn't say anything to that lady who was teaching that thing because she was so on. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to be honest. I'm real scared right now. But that was that right there. She dropped a mask and she was real. That's what made that connection. I was like, this is what yoga could feel like. It wasn't that different, but it's her energy of authenticity that she brought. She just was real. I'm scared right now. Speak it out. Let it move through you. And it gives people permission to be like, I can do that. I can say when I'm scared and keep going and doing the thing anyway. That's what you're teaching them. And that is more important than anything you're going to say or teach them because you learned it somewhere with a degree. Can you see that? Can you feel that?
Yeah, totally. And I also just love the aspect of like the like a aha minor shift for me just was like I'm such a gift giver. Like that's one of my love languages. So it's like just imagining that all of my classes are truly just gifts because people are either gonna like re-gift the gift or they're gonna put the gift on the mantle or they're gonna drop it off at Goodwill. I don't care what you do with it, but it's my gift to you. And if what you do with it how you want.
Exactly. Exactly. It's such a beautiful metaphor. You are giving them a gift, but it's going to feel and be wrapped different for every person who receives it because
Right.
they have a different lens that or wound even. Their wound is their lens for how they show up in for themselves and in this life, right? So the gift that they get, they can choose to receive it or no. They
Mhm.
can choose to put it on their mantle, like you said, or they can choose to open it up and let it start working energy. Because what it is, it's a little packet of energy. It's
Mhm.
energy. And you've given them this. They're either stuck in a pattern of avoidance, they're going to put it up there and never even look at it again. They don't dare
Mhm.
open it because there might be change in that energy. That's,
Mhm.
but you also shared with them this beautiful idea that you spoke out your sphere and yet you still move forward. So it's a gift that it will affect every person differently according to where they're at. And it's not your responsibility to worry about what that gift, how it lands in them. You just give it. It's like why does this a bird sing? Because it thinks it's the prettiest or that it's gonna people are gonna hear it and like think that they're great or whatever. They're just singing. It's so authentic, it's so natural. They just sing and they flit around And that's why we appreciate and love birds just because whatever, unless until they poop on your car. No, so I don't know. We could have gone deeper, but I know you've gone deep. It seems like this is something that just is really just wants to be tweaked a little bit and how you're
Yeah.
showing up with it.
Yeah. I am definitely working the muscle more of like living in the space of this feeling rather than having to get to it from different outside circumstances. Like I'm really, and of course, this is like not an overnight thing. This is a full embodiment of that will take however long it takes. But I, and then again, I definitely beat myself up in the sense of like, oh, I know this and I know the things, but why can't I get there? Which is again why these sisterhood communities are so important because I know you're just shining up the mirror of what you know I already know. You have it in you, so you're giving it to me, which I very much appreciate because like I said, well, and you could probably resonate with this too, like I'll have to send you this meme on a side note because I'm sure you're gonna laugh at it. But it's like I don't know if you know the app, The Pattern.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the
Oh,
pattern. Yeah, I
I
have the
love I
I know.
love and I don't like live by these things, but I'll
Yeah.
like hop on it every once in a while.
It's
And so
crazy. Yeah, you're like, wow. I mean, it's astrology, right? It's like
oh,
so
right. And
yeah, it's
the
human
pattern
design.
is fucking no joke. Again, excuse my French, but it's like it actually I'm like, all right, okay, this is so real. Speaks to me every time. But anyways, long story short, and of course I did it like 10 o'clock at night. So I'm doing it before I go to sleep. And now like my mind's racing. But it said like now I'm breaking like a 9 or 12 year cycle with myself. And I have the opportunity to either crystallize where I'm at or to expand. And like I'm in this time of expansion that's like I'm gonna literally rocket off if I do whatever it is that I need to do rather than like keeping it crystalline or crystallized, whatever it said. And that word kind of scared me because it just made me feel like in freeze mode. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, like I can't be in freeze mode. I don't want to just like, I don't want to just be stuck here. And like I said, it just kind of scared me. And I was like, okay, like we got to go in. I don't know.
You get to, you don't got to. You
No,
get to.
thank
You are the one that you are showing up for you, and I see you doing it. Oh, I can just feel you right there. And you're right. That crystallization is like this stagnant, like frozen
you.
stuck thing. And you're
Yeah,
like,
like,
no, no, no,
yeah,
no. I'm soft. I'm malleable.
yeah,
I'm warm. I'm ready. I'm all warmed up. All of this has been building, all this work you've been doing, and it's ready for you to be like literally, it's saying enough.
yeah.
I've actually learned that. And now this is who I be. And it's a claiming. You get to claim it. You don't have to. You get to. You're stepping into your power and you're speaking the words that are like, wait, how I forgot. I read something this week that was so interesting. And then I'm going to wrap this up because I know you guys need to go. I read something this week that just like, I was like, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way. It said, forgetting is satanic in its nature. And I had to sit with it. So I was like pausing and like thinking and like, okay, set this book down. And I realized the frequency of forgetting, not like, oh, I forgot this thing, forgetting who we be, forgetting our wholeness is evil in its nature, but it has to exist. We have to forget to remember. So everything has to have that stickiness or whatever for us to finally turn to the thing and claim it. That version of you, Madeline, that is rocketing off wherever she ends up, that version of you exists right now. Time is relative. There isn't a future version of you because time isn't like, oh, like in 10 years or 5 years. Like those years, all those timelines exist exactly now, just in a different dimension, layer, whatever generation, whatever you want to call it, of time. Time is just all. And so, how does she show up? That version of you that's rocketed off, what is she claiming? What has she already claimed?
Hmm.
What is she saying to herself? What is she saying to others about herself? What is her inner dialogue? What is she feeding herself? What is she reading? What is she listening to? What is she believing? How does she walk? How does she go to bed? Like everything. What is the frequency of her? Because she exists right now. Every quantum particle that lives in us has every version of us. We just get to choose energetically which one we're vibrating at. So, what is your choice in every now moment, which is now and now and now and now? You get to choose. You have the freedom to choose. Your power literally lies in every now moment. Oh my gosh. And the more you choose that, you create the new neural pathway, the new energetic signal that's going out. And I promise you, that's going to shake up your reality. Pay attention. Once you start claiming your wholeness, and you know that your forgetting is no longer available, but you're human, so there's compassion for it. But you don't say, oh, why do I keep doing that? You're like, of course you do that because you're human. But that's not who we are anymore. You just keep coming back. It's your focus. You just bring where your attention goes, your energy flows, and you're keeping it over in your reclamation right here. And you keep it there and you just keep trusting because frequency precedes form. But our material world takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it can just be freaky and it'll be like instant. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, how did I do that? And then other things take a little bit slower to manifest because we live in a dense material world, but the frequency always has to precede the form. So our reality will only ever reflect what's happening here with our frequency. So there's still like some of these things, but can you see how things are coming? Like that offer to be the teacher at the yoga thing? That wasn't random. And I don't believe that life tests us, but life is a curriculum. It's like, what did you learn from that? How did that feel when you said no?
Mhm.
How would it feel if you said yes? Could you sit with that?
Mm.
Is there some fear around that? Can you sit with her, the version of you that wanted to say yes? Can you sit with her? What would you say to her and what would she say to you?
Or
Because
you
Because when she's finally settled, yeah, then the reclamation can actually happen. The leap can feel like, ah, this is part of me now, and she's coming with me. She gets to be with me while we leap. She's not informing me anymore because I love her. She's not scared anymore because she trusts me. I mean, she's always going to take care of me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, so that was a lot, but do you feel complete at all, Madeline? What feels still a little sticky? Is there
Yeah,
anything?
no, honestly, like I said, I mean, it's there's still more to it, and of course it's like putting my money where my mouth is, but I think what was important for me today is just to like yeah, I always call like feather dusting off like, a prized piece. Like have some I have like I have some what am I trying to say? I have some understanding of the reasons why I feel a certain way about it. Um and I just needed some cleanup for sure because now I can feel into so much more. Like I said, I mean, my definite takeaway is that it's just my gift. Like it's just a gift. It's not even, I mean, it's definitely my
One of your gifts, yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like it's something that I get to share and it really doesn't matter to me. And I've gone through so much of life with, I don't really care if people do or don't like my class. Like I've kind of, separated myself from that. Now it's just, oh, this thing that I'm not really like, as strong at as dancing than I am with teaching yoga or slow movement. And I need to clean up that dialogue because that's not it at all. That's what I've made it mean.
Yeah.
And what I've made it meant also is that it's scary when in reality, sharing my gifts is not scary. Like it's actually really fun and I get to and I love to.
That's your mantra. That's your mantra. I get to. I love to share this. I get to. I want to. That's your new mantra. This is what I love to do. I get
Yeah.
to do this. I love to. I want to. Right?
And I appreciate you sharing the humility because at the end of the day, like I do love how Instagram is kind of changing to people who are way more, or at least my Instagram, um, are just being way more authentic. Like, a mom that I follow, like she just like literally has like her babies throw up down her. She's like, this is the day that I've dealt with. And it's like, that's
Ah,
what, motherhood is messy. It doesn't have to just be like cute outfits and whatever. Like, so I appreciate when other people are authentic because it's like this life is a wild world. So, you know, I,
yeah,
I want
exactly.
that person too. I don't need to scratch that perfectionist itch. That's also so 2007 of me.
Yes. Um, Shoot, there was one last thing that I want to, oh, okay. This idea that, there's this story that I know someone who tells this story when they say, whenever or they know someone who shows up in a room and they're beloved because they're always, instead of being like, here I am, it's like, there you are. There
Mhm,
you are, right? And that's a lovely concept. And it's still, if we can dig a little deeper there, the idea that how can we give to someone else what we haven't given to us? So,
mhm,
what is really truly wanted before we're able to show up authentically and really mean it when we're like, there you are? We have to have said it like, turn in, tune in, and be like, there you are. There you are. Before we can say, here I am.
mhm,
Like, I know who I be. Here I am. Then it's so natural. It's not even something we have to like think about. There you are. We're just showing up in service of love, the love that already we know we are. And then it just flows so naturally. There's nothing efforted. You showing up. So in some ways, this concern about what it feels like here, forget that. Like that's part of the thing that wants to lift. It's like,
right,
don't worry about this. Don't worry about what's going on in here, sister. That's part of the stuckness. That's part of the
mhm,
crystallization that wants to be warmed up and like just like let it melt, sister. That
mhm,
rigidity, whatever it is that's feeling like it's holding you back. Step into your power, the power of love. Love for all the parts of you, the scared one too, but let it melt, soften. And as you show up, because you've done it here first, like, here I am. Like, there you are. Here I am. And there you are. And this is the gift that I offer just by me showing up because I did it here first. That's embodiment. Yeah. And then it becomes so natural. Like I see you kind of in your head a little bit, like analyzing it and thinking it and like, well, that's this. And I'm like, that's the crystallization.
mhm,
Freeze that up and let it melt. Like take that out and like literally set it over here and let it melt because that's your love. You are the wholeness. You are the frequency of that. When that frequency arrives, there's no rigidity. It's pure feminine, unf-withable power.
mhm,
Just embracing, accepting everything just as it is. It's a very feminine energy that's very whole and conscious, and we haven't experienced a lot of it. That's what's coming online now. That old wounded feminine way to hide or to be scared or think they shouldn't speak or whatever that is, that's wounded feminine. And so that conscious, whole, deep feminine wisdom that wants to express is you standing in your power. Like this is what's moving through me and I want to share it.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what people want to be around. And I already felt it on here today with you. I felt it when it first came on. It's the same. It's still radiant.
Thank you very much. I feel the same way about your energy as well.
Thank you, Madeline.
Thank you.
So, okay. Thanks you guys for being here. Anyone who's still here. And I guess for now, all the things that were spoken, and then Madeline, just really, you helped us step into going levels deeper of like, because I'm sure anyone who watches this will be able to relate to the fear of like, what if it's not good enough? What if I'm not good enough? Or what if I do it wrong? Or I'm too afraid to make a mistake, or I'm not allowed to make a mistake. There's so many versions that we all carry. There's never just one thing, they're like the Olympic rings that cling to each other. And when we start to unravel one, they all start to like dismantle. So it's good. This is such a good stuff. So thank you. Thank you for showing up and speaking out honestly. And to the rest of you, thank you for showing up here. I hope to see you in the future. We will be having like on the 1st of next month. I forget the exact date, but we will be meeting again as a collective women. I have my next week is for the men. I just started that group. I'm also starting a 3-month course of really explaining what I mentioned in the beginning, the skillful means, the tools, like to give you the tool belt on how to navigate all the stuff that I was just talking to Madeline about, all the things about our thoughts and slowing down. And I give you not only just the tools, but the skillful means of when and how to use these tools in my 3-month course. So I'm excited about that. I will be announcing that in the next week or two. So thank you for being here. And I love and believe in all of you. And have a good weekend. Ciao. Ciao, my dear. Thanks for showing up. Bye, Kelly.